Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Karen Buechs, and I'm the host for the evening. As you can see, it's a little bit different tonight. I got permission, and it's fun. Now, we all should have fun, but we're not going to overindulge. Please welcome one of my favorite people in the world, Plymouth Town Manager Derek Brindisi.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me. No, and I agree with you. This is very fun. Let's start with a cheers.
A cheers.
Right? Salute.
To health, happiness.
Some good red wine.
Good red wine. Very good. You know, Derek asked me, do I bring red or white? And what did I say?
You said red all the time.
Red all
That's right.
I've never had a white wine that I liked. Have you?
Really? I think it depends on what you're eating and the time of year. I like white during the summer. I love red in the winter. But I remember as a kid growing up, my father always drank red.
Red.
Never drank anything else but red.
Yeah.
And that's all he ever drank.
My family, too, and a lot of people I know. I just never found a white wine that, I don't know, maybe it's the tannins or something.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
just
you don't like it.
Too snappy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, red or white, depending on the time of year. I'll do either one. But I remember, so the last, I think I was on your show maybe at least 6 weeks ago, maybe longer. And you had scheduled a 30-minute episode. And we went on and talked for 60 minutes.
Which we could have gone on.
We could have gone on for hours.
Yeah.
And I had said, next time we do this, we should have a glass of wine. So here we are.
I know. It's really fun. A lot of people, I told a few people and they said, huh, what?
Yeah, I know. Right.
You know, going on 25 years, never did that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, you got to enjoy life.
Well, I want to toast you because of what you did, many things you've done, because you never do things on your behalf. You do it for the town. I want to toast you because of Bert's.
Oh, thank you.
And you finally did something. Somebody finally took the reins and did something. Thank you very much. And Richard Serkey.
And Richard Serkey, yeah.
Yep.
So, cheers to that. Mm-hmm. And I can give you a little background. So,
please.
You know, as you know, I came back to town in 2022 as the town manager, and I had one of the top complaints I received on a regular basis was, what is the town doing about Bert's? So this is 2022. Bert's had been abandoned for at least 10 years at this point. There was no movement on it. And so having worked in other municipalities, one of the best laws, regulations that can be created is something known as a nuisance bylaw. And so these nuisance bylaws are really tailor-made to get after these nuisance properties that create blight in a neighborhood.
Graffiti too?
Yes, absolutely. Graffiti is a great example. Yeah.
Okay.
Dilapidated buildings, weathered buildings that are really, again, creating this blight in neighborhoods. And so the three that always came to mind was Bert's, the Full Sail, and then this big hole in the ground on Court Street. You know, that still we haven't. So we brought, in order to remedy those concerns, we brought forward a nuisance bylaw to town meeting. And, you know, it probably could have been vetted a little bit prior to going to town meeting. Town meeting thought it was a little overreach, government overreach. They voted against it. And so that was, I want to say it was either the fall, I think it was the fall of 22, or maybe it was the spring of 23. So then we really didn't feel like we had any strong regulations to go after the owners of Bert's to do something about that property. But for the past 18 months, maybe longer,
I think it's been longer.
And Richard Serkey would come to the select board meetings, and he would often reference the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 139, that gives municipalities a little bit of authority to try to go after these properties. And over we kept saying 139 is not going to work in this case of Bert's. But again, Mr. Serkey was very persistent to the point where the select board had turned to me and said, we want you as a town manager to look at, research what options are available to the town.
Right.
So Jason Silva, who's an amazing commissioner of buildings, took that and he decided to go through the building code, and he didn't use Chapter 139. He referenced the building code, and he sent 2 letters to the property owner. One was to secure the building because, as you know, it was vacant, it was open.
Dangerous.
Very dangerous for
Mold.
fires, all that. So he said that was the first thing they needed to do. They needed to secure the building and make it safe. And then the second letter said, after you make it safe, you have 30 days to submit to the town a plan to demolish the building. And then 30 days thereafter to actually demolish the building. So in essence, we would give them 60 days to figure out how to demolish the building. Those letters were sent. I had one conversation with the attorney representing the property owner. They have since secured the building. They put a fence around the birth structure. And we have been told, and I always say, I don't believe anything until it actually happens. But we have been told via email that they are working on a plan to demolish the building and that they would be submitting a demo application very soon. Once the application is submitted, our Commissioner of Buildings will review it, issue a demolition permit, and then the building will be taken down. So there is some movement. We are excited to see this building come down.
Yeah. Is he going to build another building, or does he lose that right?
No, he will be able to reconstruct on the property.
Okay.
And there are conversations from what I know that there are developers who are interested in redeveloping that site.
Right.
Now, not to get too deep into this, but the current owner wanted to reconstruct there, and they had proposed to the town this 4-story structure that was really big. I mean, it was.
I saw it.
It was
huge.
And it had condos in it. It had restaurants in it.
It was ugly.
It looked like the Titanic, actually, when you look at the design. But it was such a big structure that the only way they could make a structure like that size work is they wanted to lease the adjacent property, which is the town parking lot.
Yeah.
And we use this town parking lot especially for overflow parking during the summer months. And I talked to Ann Slusser, who's our rec director, every Saturday and Sunday, and I would say by 11 a.m. she's texting me saying, we're moving vehicles to the overflow parking. So the select board and myself, we didn't feel that we could go back to our residents and say, we just gave up our overflow parking so a private property owner can make money. So we held our ground and we said, no, this parking lot, although it's only used really 3 or 4 months out of the year, is for our residents so that they can enjoy Plymouth Beach. So to credit to the select board for holding their ground, and here we are 6 months later, and the building's going to come down, and there'll probably be something built, something smaller in stature.
And I know, you can verify this, that you had been in negotiations with this owner for a long time, trying to find a, compromise, try to do something. You weren't out to, boot him out of town or ruin him or anything like that. I had a little go around on Facebook with people about it. And when you allow, if you agree, graffiti in your town, if you allow derelict buildings, it's a blight on your whole town. It says something about, it's like rubbish in the streets.
That's right.
But people were worried, they're going to come after my house. Well, if your house is relatively decent, nobody's going to take your house.
That's right.
They're thinking about themselves versus what's good for the town.
Well, I can say that you mentioned graffiti, and these are the little things that I am really focused on. In the summer of 2022, we had a lot of graffiti downtown. A lot of graffiti.
Right.
And I met with Lee Hartman. We created a graffiti task force. We put together plans where if there was graffiti on public buildings, how we were going to handle that. If there was graffiti on private buildings, how we would handle that. And we had grants for folks. But more importantly, it was like stopping it at its root cause. And I've been told, although this has never been verified, that this was, I talked about graffiti so much in my first 6 months that the chief of police said, if we find these guys who are tagging all of our buildings, I will give you July 4th off. Like, because he knew I kept talking about it so much.
Yeah.
So I really believe that we need to also, of course we want to focus on our infrastructure, but we also have to pay attention to the aesthetics of our community, because when visitors come to our community, we have a lot of visitors that come here, the first thing they look at is, like you said, litter, graffiti, other issues that create blight in our neighborhoods. And so those are really important. If we want to have a community to raise our families, to open up a business, those are the things we need to pay attention to. Because when we do that, it uplifts everybody. It raises the value of somebody's residential home. It raises the value of commercial property. And, you know, I pay attention to the little things because it's really, really important.
It is, and it's important for the residents, too, to have pride. I mean, I think it's Europe, Switzerland, and all those countries, Scandinavia, they go out daily and wash their sidewalks.
It's a great example.
Yeah.
It's a great example. I talk often to the president of the downtown waterfront district. So you know, I was born and raised in Worcester, and there's a restaurant row in Worcester, much like the Federal Hill in Providence, and much like the North End. And the Worcester's restaurant row, if you go down there on a Saturday morning, the vast majority of the business owners are power washing their sidewalks. Every day, they're cleaning their sidewalks.
That's wonderful.
And because they take pride in their business, and they take pride in what they're all trying to collectively accomplish. They're not competing against each other because they know that, like, the more Restaurant Row becomes a tourist destination, it lifts everybody up. Because if I go to your restaurant and you have a 1 hour wait, well, I'm already here. So maybe I'll go next door instead. You know, so the more businesses you get in one location, the better it is. It's not competition; it becomes a destination.
Right. You know, I've never been to Worcester.
Really?
No, or Springfield.
Worcester's a great community. It's only gotten better in the last 20 years, especially when I was a kid. However, I love Plymouth. If I've said to you before, Karen,
you have.
If I could have raised my children in Plymouth, this is where I would have done it.
You would have done it.
It really is a great community. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm from Worcester and I love Worcester, but yeah, Plymouth beats it. There's no doubt.
Thank you very much. I've been here 52 years, so, you know, I agree with you. First 7 years I was not happy. Came from Boston.
Okay.
Tommy Menino. He taught me everything I know.
Sure.
And he had integrity. He was never the type to take advantage. And he taught me, he goes, first thing you have, Karen, is your own integrity. Once you lose that, it's over.
Right.
So I never forgot that, and I worked for other Democrats at the time, and it was quite an experience. And then we moved here, and I cried for 7 years. But
very different.
Very different. Back then, I mean, if two cars went by the house, it was something. Now it's
that's a good point.
Unbelievable. So, but you adapt, and I still love my town. You know, so, and you get busy in it. You know, instead of complaining, what you do is volunteer.
And you've done a great job of that, Karen. I mean, town meeting member, board and committees you've served on. I mean, that's really important to get involved. You know, someday I plan on getting involved in a volunteer way. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Why not?
I could never leave this environment, because I agree with you, and I know, having gotten to know you the last number of years, like, that's really important, because you've taught me so much in my 3 years here of, like, what's going on in town, what to know, what are the politics, because politics drives some of our decision making, and that's all really important stuff. So yeah, when I hang up my hat someday, I'm not going away. I'll just get involved in a different way.
That's excellent. That warms my heart. And people, do they know that you're in the service?
Yeah, National Guard.
High
I just came
up
back
there.
from drill this past weekend, 3 days.
And you are?
A lieutenant colonel, commander of our domestic response team.
That's huge.
Yeah, we just spent a week in Rhode Island training. So my team that I command is a 47-member team, and we attach to a much larger domestic response force. There's about 200 of us total with the Army and Air combined. And our mission is, if there's ever a catastrophic event like Hurricane Katrina or 9/11, we are required to deploy within 6 hours.
Okay,
We have 6 hours to get into our vehicles and go to a location. So we were in Rhode Island back in mid-July, and we practiced what that would look like, setting up our vehicles, setting up our tents, working with the Army, doing the handoffs, all that stuff. So it's a lot of folks don't know about what we do because we're behind the scenes, always preparing, always getting ready. But I've been doing it for 21 years.
What's the next step up from what?
So the next step would be colonel.
Colonel.
Yeah. I have to
Do
be
you
honest.
Want it?
I think I met with my boss over the weekend, and I mentioned that I think I'm going to retire in about 18 months.
Really?
Yeah, so the command position I've taken, you really shouldn't be there more than 3 years, and honestly, I just want to hang out with my grandkids on the weekends.
Aww.
That's really what I want to do. When I was at drill this past weekend up in New Hampshire, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was in Rhode Island for 5 days in mid-July, and I'm thinking I could be crabbing at White Horse Beach with my grandson, which is what I did the week before.
Yeah.
But I would do it every weekend. Going out on White Horse Beach, looking at the crabs at low tide. That's what we do.
So you would have 23 years in?
I'll have about 23 plus years when I retire. Yep.
That's excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good retirement.
That's enough. I mean, I'm 50 years old now, and
well, you went in young.
yeah, I went in young, and then I had a break in service. Back in 2002, my oldest son, who's now 28, had to have an organ transplant. So I had to get out of the military because we lived in Pittsburgh for a little while during his transplant. So
he's okay.
He's 28. He was 6 years old at the time. He's now 28, and he's a firefighter in Northborough.
Oh, God.
So I still worry about him.
Yeah, of course.
He still has to go to Mass General, have his annual checkups, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's doing well. But that was a kind of difficult period. I was 27 years old when that happened.
Baby.
So yeah, looking back, I thought I knew everything at 27 years old, and it was a difficult time. So that's why I took a break in service for about 7 years, and I re-enlisted back in 2009.
Excellent. You have a tight family, you have a wonderful wife, you have great grandchildren, and I don't blame you. It's time. I mean, you get to a point.
Yeah, you want to enjoy life.
Right.
It's too short. So
it is.
We have the air show coming up in September, and I'll bring the boys up there in September so they can experience at least a few years with their papa when he's still in the Air Force. Papa. So that's what we do.
That's what I call my grandfather.
Yeah, that's what
Papa.
we do. So it's great.
Where's the air show?
It's at Pease Air National Guard Base, right outside of Portsmouth. So
Maine.
It'll be September 6th and 7th this year. The Blue Angels, I think, are coming. So it'll be fun. So I bring the boys up there just so they can hang out with me on the base and see what we do.
Oh my goodness. They'll probably join when they're 17.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my two. I have a 20-year-old son and a 23-year-old son, and I couldn't get neither one of those two to join.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They weren't interested.
They weren't. They're just, some aren't,
Well, my grandfather served in the Korean War, and he was my hero. And I lived next door to him. My house is here. We live right next door to my grandparents, and he would tell me stories about being in the Air Force and serving in the Korean War. And when I turned 18, I'm like, I want to be like my grandfather.
Yeah.
So. a piece of it.
It's disciplined you too, because you're very on time, you're very strategic. I've seen that. Yet you can be very casual and encompassing. I've seen that part too. You're well-rounded, and I hope you never go anywhere else. And I know what you say, but you've been the best town manager ever.
I know. You're probably thinking what I always say. First of all, you know I love this community, and hopefully I'm here as long as I can be. But I also know that there's always an end to this, and I'm okay with that because politics change, direction changes, and at some point, the community will go in a different direction. But while I'm here, I always say this, like I really think about what's the best thing for the taxpayer. Now, Karen, we get the phone calls all the time. I have businesses saying, can you do this, can you do that? And I always say, well, is that the best thing for our taxpayers, our residents? And if the answer is yes, yeah, we can do that. But if the answer is no, then we say, listen, I'm sorry, we can't do that. And that's what happens like in this position. You say no so many times, people get upset with you. But you have to balance. We have 65,000 plus people that live in this community. And I get phone calls from maybe a couple hundred. So that means there's like 64,000 people, we'll call it, that seem like they're relatively happy to live in this community. So I try to keep all that in mind.
It's the quiet ones, the ones that don't raise a ruckus. They're not always up in your office. They're, whatever. But there are legitimate concerns, and
that's right.
You've never not taken a phone call or a person. So, you got to sift it out and do what's best. Now, my thing is, I hope I'm around long enough to see Memorial Hall fixed. It's important to the community. I say it's the fabric, one of the fabrics, the threads to our community.
Right.
It brings so much joy, and it could bring so much more.
So much more.
The weddings. Do you know how much a reception is? You must.
Yeah. I'm happy you brought up, because, as a Community Preservation Committee member, you were a strong advocate, and I thank you, Karen, for being an advocate to do what's right and to bring Memorial Hall back to its former glory.
Right.
We had 120 events scheduled last year, or this year. And it's been growing
so far.
From the previous year.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of money. We asked CPC to fund $15 million out of a $22 million renovation. But really,
I think it's going to be more.
I mean, over time, it may be more depending on what the community wants. So right now, if we were to fund it for the water intrusion, honestly, what upsets me most about this building is that there was a study done in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
And you were probably a town meeting member then.
Yeah, I was.
And it said we have water infiltrating the side walls of our building. It's destroying the integrity of this building. And we come back 13 years later, and we have another engineer come in to say, there's water coming in the building.
It's worse.
Yes, of course it's worse after 13 years. So once we got that study completed in our hand, we went to the select board and we said, these are the problems at Memorial Hall. And then we said, this is the cost to repair these neglected problems. And then we went to CPC asking for some resources because I didn't want to be the town manager that in 10 years from now, some other town manager says,
going to say,
why did they ignore it?
Yeah.
Why did they ignore all these years? And it was ignored going back to 2012, 2013, 2014. They did nothing on this building.
We tried. There were town meeting members, and I was one of them, and wanted to know why what's going on. But I don't know whether it was the select board at the time or the town manager. But nothing ever got done, and it was you knew that this building is getting worse.
Right.
What's going to happen?
It's only going to get worse.
It's at a critical point now.
Right.
And some people say, take it all down. You can't.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think that if we make the investment, not only will it be restored, but it's going to attract.
Yes.
It's going to attract first-class
Venues.
entertainers,
Yeah.
things of that nature. You know, so when we use the meals tax money for a town hall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with it. It's a decision that was made. But think about this. The meals tax is generated, the vast majority, by our tourists.
Tourists.
Right. Coming here, eating in our restaurants, dining in our pubs. And so if we want more tourism, we want to keep feeding the tourism beast, we should use meals tax money to fund the Spire, to fund Memorial Hall, to fund the tourist aspect of what we do. Tourism is our number one economy. But instead, there were decisions made that take the tourism money, the meals tax money, and put it towards the town hall. So now we're like, okay, where else are we getting money? The meals tax money is already being spent on town hall, so CPC is really the only other alternative.
Well, we're still waiting for the state to make up its mind about if we can raise that a little bit.
Yeah, so for folks that don't know, as you pointed out, Karen, the governor last year, so in 2024, filed a bill. And the bill that the governor filed would have allowed cities and towns, to increase the meals tax by 25%, I believe.
Okay.
A hotel motel tax by about 25%, and then excise tax. I forget the number. But it's a local option tax. So if the select board thought that this was something they wanted to pursue, we would then bring this as a warrant article to town meeting to vote on. But that didn't pass last year. It died in committee to the legislation, and it's stuck in committee right now this summer. So, but to your point, if that were to pass through the legislature, then we could potentially increase our meals tax by 25%. I want to say we got about $3.5 million, $3 million right now in meals tax money. So another 25%, you're talking about another $750,000. And I believe Lynn Barrett said if we were to borrow $15 million, it'd be about $1.1 million to the CPC. So if we funded $700,000 through the raising of the meals tax, I mean, we're only talking a little bit of money through CPC. You're only talking about a $400,000 borrow. So, you know, you'd probably be looking at a request around $6 or $7 million through CPC, not $15 million.
I have people on my CPC that will not borrow. They have made it emphatic, and I get very upset. I understand it. They want to, pay down the debt.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But so many things are going by the board.
That's right.
When I went to Canada to a hotel, Kenny and I, there was a CPC tax, there was a tourism tax, and there was something else, and I racked my brain and I can't think of it, but it all went for these things.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't cheap. I mean, we're not talking $1.
Right.
Outside of your bill for the hotel.
Well, and you go to Boston. I mean, you look at when you stay in Boston at one of their hotels, they have all these different line items of all
Yes.
these fees that you pay. So if you think you're spending $250 a night in Boston, it's like $325 because of all these fees they add to it.
Yeah.
And they take those dollars and they put it back into tourism and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So they're generating revenue in order to make those things happen. Jason Silver, the building commissioner, I think summed it up well at the end of that meeting, because this is what he does for a living. He's walked inside that building and he said that this building is going to be closed in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
He didn't put a number on it, but he's probably thinking somewhere between a year and 2 years that building's going to be closed.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jason Silva, Chief Neil Foley, both of them are responsible for the safety of buildings. And they both have told me on separate occasions that building eventually, if there are no improvements made, it's going to be beyond repair. So here we are.
Yeah, I liked Selectman Quintal's idea of making a commercial kitchen, because then you can have weddings and do other things there, and that's big money.
Huge money. And I know that we would get a lot of revenue just for weddings alone.
Right.
And that is a great idea. That blue room, I don't know, it could probably seat 150 people.
Yeah.
And if you do that right now, the windows are in disrepair, literally falling out, being held together by duct tape. They have air-conditioned windows reconfigured to fit in there, so the climate control isn't correct. I mean, but if you do that the right way, you put new windows in there, central air conditioning, you clean it up, that becomes and to Mr. Quintal's point, a commercial kitchen. You're going to generate a lot of money off of weddings there.
Yes, you are, and people would want the history of getting married there. Look what they do up at the plantation.
That's right. Yeah.
What's it called now?
Patuxent, Plymouth Patuxent.
Plymouth Patuxent.
I had friends of mine who were here in Plymouth just 2 weekends ago. They spent all their money downtown. All their money they spent downtown.
Good.
But they were here because they were at a wedding at
Waverly
Oaks.
Waverly?
Yeah, that's where they went to the wedding.
Oh, don't talk to me about Waverly.
They could have easily have gone to the Memorial Hall.
Yeah. Oh, that's Atlantic. I got Waverly and the Atlantic mixed
the Country
up.
Club.
Yeah.
Different.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I say get 500 people together with signs and march on Atlantic property.
Yeah, that'll be an interest. We have a lot of work to do with Atlantic. We have a lot. Just to give folks a brief update on Atlantic Country Club, as those that don't know, Atlantic Country Club is for sale for $20 million to a developer who wants to turn it into a 40B project. Oh. They're proposing approximately 400 units down there.
And it's on a dirt road?
It's on a dirt road. There's no water or sewer infrastructure.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and honestly, we should talk 40Bs in a minute. It's not worth $20 million. So the town has the first right of refusal, and we're at the point that we have challenged their purchase and sale agreement. We don't think it's bona fide. So we've sent multiple letters to the seller's attorney. We've ordered, and I say we, the select board, have ordered an appraisal to be conducted, so that once the appraisal comes in, we can say it's not worth 20, it's worth X. So then, let's pretend it's worth, say, $5 million. Now does the town get in the conversation? Is it worth spending $5 million to prevent a 400-unit 40B project? And the short answer to that is yes. And I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, yes, I agree with you. But what needs to go on there, Derek, is economic development, not housing. If you put it into open space and all that, we're actually spiting ourselves. It's not sustainable. Where are we going to get the tax dollars? Yeah. And I don't want it to come from housing.
Right. I agree with you. Let's talk housing for a minute.
Okay.
Because I agree with you 100%, Karen. We're at the fulcrum right now with housing. The ZBA approved, and this is not a criticism of the ZBA, they didn't have a choice. They were forced by the state, to approve a 300-unit 40B project in Colony Place.
I know.
It's a 40B, so the folks that don't understand 40B law allows developers to build however much, wherever they want, number of units. So,
and the town they're building in has no say-so.
Right. The only thing the town can do is negotiate mitigation. And in this case, we negotiated some water mitigation. So we got 300 units that are coming online probably in the next 2 years. Pulte, Meg Sheehan's family
He makes lousy houses, you know.
They do. So Pulte's buying the Sheehan property, or the El Knife property, I should say, over on Hedge Road. They're going to build another 163 units.
Yeah.
So that's 463 units in the next 2 years. The fire chief and police chief are already saying to me, they're already saying, we are at max capacity.
Extended.
Our manpower cannot handle the volume of calls. And they referenced two in particular. They referenced Cottage Park, and they referenced the Oasis. They have more calls for service in those two 40B
Really?
projects than anywhere else. Oh, yeah. Yep. A lot of calls for service.
I could see it at the Oasis, but at the Cottage Park?
Yeah. A lot of calls for service, fire and police, EMS, going to Cottage Park, because it's so dense. There's just so many units there. And now we're going to have another 300 units in Colony Place, another 163 units here in North Plymouth. What I said to the board last night is true, that we're going to have to go to town meeting and ask for more firefighters and more police officers.
Yeah.
So you're 100% correct, Karen. We can't expect that residential growth is going to pay our bills every year, because what it's doing is it's actually costing us more money to pay our bills. Because we have to hire more firefighters and more police officers, that money that we get from residential growth is going away.
You need a business to come in that has very few employees.
That's
right. That so traffic will not be, hurt that way, and the tax on that business would be at least 20 to 25 million a year.
Right.
That's what we need, and that's what's called a data center.
I've talked to folks who are very interested in bringing a data center here to town. We're always willing to have those conversations. I can personally say.
Oh, you are, but it's got to happen.
It's right, and we have to spend more time and energy trying to market Plymouth for what it can bring. So if you're from San Diego and you own a company that does data centers in San Diego, why do you want to come to Plymouth? So we have to show folks across the nation, because it's not just going to come out of Boston. We have to be not global.
Welcome.
We have to be more national, and we have to be and we have to put people behind that in order to make that happen, because it just doesn't happen.
I understand the planning department needs people.
Well, the planning department is going through a major transformation this year.
What happened?
So Lee Hartman, who's been a longtime planning director, is retiring in December.
Yeah.
Our town planner, Colleen, is retiring in September. Our conservation agent is retiring in December. So those are three major positions in the planning department that we're going to lose in the next 6 months. So Lauren Lynn, who's our deputy director, will be promoted to the planning director, and she's amazing. But she's going to have to fill some holes in a hurry. And so once that gets leveled off, I think we have to stop being a small town. To your point, if we want commercial industry, like a data center is a great example, to come to town, we can't just sit here and expect them to show up and knock on our front door and say, hey, listen, I'm here to open a data center. Show me around. We have to go out and find them. And that's what big communities do. They don't sit around and wait for people to come to them. They go out and they locate those types of firms that are trying to reestablish themselves in
Weymouth
other markets.
and Maine are doing it.
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. That's what big communities do. And so we still have the luxury at this point in time that we have properties that I think are definitely underutilized. Up on Camelot Drive, we have parcels that are underutilized downtown.
You know what's wrong with Camelot Drive, and that's the county. The county wants, I'll say Tom O'Brien wants, a baseball park in there. Okay, you're not going to find a developer to do that.
There's no money in it.
There's no money in it, but he wants to recoup his money by doing that. Well, kiss Camelot Park goodbye unless you take it by eminent domain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sports tourism would attract more tourists, but your point about data centers and like life sciences, those types of high-paying jobs.
You could teach the kids at school in life sciences.
Those are the types of businesses we need to start to attract.
Yes.
And I do think maybe some of it will get it through natural evolution, because the cost of doing business in Boston and Metro Boston is growing, and then they start to look at like less costly places like Plymouth. They have
to.
But I do believe that, and we did this 2 years ago, we attached ourselves to a product called Invest Boston, and it has a national distribution of 1 million subscribers. And we were featured, and when I say we, the town of Plymouth was featured 7 pages in this Invest Boston magazine, and we talked everything about life sciences, we talked about the blue economy in it, we talked about small business growth. And I always use San Diego as an example. My hope was that, there's some multi-millionaire sitting on his yacht in the San Diego harbor who's reading this Invest Boston and says, "Oh, I build convention centers. This place in Plymouth seems interesting. Let me fly into their airport and take a look." So we're out there. We are trying to get on the national stage.
The one big thing you have to do, Derek, is change the zoning.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Zoning's a problem.
You got to do it. And do it smartly. You know how to do that smartly.
Well, one thing that I've been talking to the Economic Development Foundation about is, before we just jump to change zoning, let's do what is known as a zoning analysis. Like, let's look at all of our zones.
All right, have you done it?
Working with the foundation now to hire a consultant to do this analysis, and then they could come back and say, okay, in this part of town, we recommend you change these zones. In this part of town, we recommend you change these zones. Like, so for example, our zoning bylaw allows for 30-foot height restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could go to the ZBA and get a variance. That is an option. But if I'm the AC Marriott Hotel and I find 2 parcels of land downtown Plymouth, I need at least 50 feet. I need 5 stories in order to build a hotel.
But does that give the guy that owns Burt's to build that monstrosity?
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends where the zoning is. I mean, technically, that person right now could do that, right? They could still go to the ZBA and ask for a variance to build a monstrosity like that.
Where it is.
But if we had, like, say, a downtown overlay district where just in the downtown we allow certain heights, we may see some of these flagship hoteliers come here. I was just in Portsmouth over the weekend because I was at Drill, and downtown Portsmouth, I would say, has at least 8, maybe 9 hotels. And I was just driving downtown, and they just opened up another hotel. Just opened up 2 months ago. It was a Hilton product. I think it was a Hilton Homestead.
They must have the foot traffic.
Portsmouth is 30,000 people. That's the population.
That's all?
That's it. And we have 65,000. But they're restaurants. They're drawing it because the restaurants, they have an unbelievable memorial hall. They don't call it a memorial hall. It's called the music hall. Very similar to what we have here. They just renovated it like 3 or 4 years ago. We're actually setting up we're going to do a road trip to meet in September to meet with the managers of their music hall, and they're bringing in big time entertainers like the Wayans brothers and things like that. But the point is that they have so many hotels in downtown Portsmouth now. One, I think, because their zoning allows it, but 2, they're filling up their hotels year round.
Which means the restaurants are filled.
That's right.
The clothing stores, everything is filled.
The clothing stores are open till 8, 9 o'clock at night.
See,
that's closing at 6.
Yeah, I'm telling you, people. When I was a town meeting member, I used to hear from people, tourists, why is this store closed?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for the week, and this store is closed.
Right.
And I used to hear from the business owner, I get no traffic. But people are coming up the street. They want to buy something.
And what is no traffic? So there's a retail shop that just opened up on the waterfront in Harbour Town, and just opened up about a month and a half ago. And I walk down there on a lot, 'cause I live downtown, and this business is open till 9 o'clock at night. Now he may only sell one hat or one T-shirt.
Where is this?
It's right in the Harbour Town building on the very first floor.
Where 71 is?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
No, where the terrace is.
Oh, the nice building.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So it's almost right next door to the Kilwin's ice cream shop.
Ice cream, yeah.
But this guy's got his doors open all the time, lights are on, and people come in. Some people just window shop or whatever. But
he's open.
When I was in college, this is a lesson I learned. I worked for this Greek guy at a pizza shop when I was in college, and we closed the pizza shop at 11 o'clock at night. We're tired. It's hot, sweating, sticky. We're mopping the floors, just trying to get out of there as young kids. And then somebody would knock on the door at like 11:15, and I would look at this guy.
You want to kill him.
We're closed.
Yeah.
And the Greek guy would come out of the back room.
I make you pizza.
What do you want? He's like, I'll make you a pizza. I'll make you whatever you want.
Yeah.
And his name was Angelo. And I'd say, Angelo, I just want to go home. He says to me, he goes, because if I do that once a day, for every single day of the course of the year, he goes, I just brought in an extra $2,000 this year.
God love him.
He was thinking one pizza a day, even though we're closed.
Yeah.
And customer service too. So that's my point.
And you absorbed that as a kid.
Well, yeah, and I'm just trying to make a few bucks in college. But,
yeah, but
that's the retail, that was his mentality. The retail mentality, this guy that just opened up his business, he may sell one baseball hat from 8 to 9 o'clock. But if he's like Angelo, he's thinking, if I sell one baseball hat from 8 to 9 o'clock for every single day, those baseball hats are $40 a hat. $40 a hat.
Sometimes more.
Yeah. So $300 a week I just made. So why wouldn't I be open?
Yeah.
I
know. I never got it.
Yeah.
I never understood it. Mm-hmm. But.
And it really comes down to your philosophy on running a small business.
On life, your business ethic.
Some people are like, I'd rather be home having dinner at 8 o'clock with my family. Someone else says, I'd rather sell a pizza, once a day, because that's going to equate to $2,000 for that year that I normally would not have had either way. So it just really depends on your business philosophy. But we're hoping that the more people that are downtown, the cruise line,
oh, yeah.
they're coming 2 or 3 times a week. I see them walking around with their lanyards. When they come in on a Saturday and they walk around, they want to spend money. The retail shops are closed on a Sunday morning. That's a loss.
Huge loss.
Yeah, I have seen them a lot recently, walking around during the course of the week. And I see them come. We had, but the businesses had a sidewalk sale this week on Court Street. And I saw a lot of people with the cruise line lanyards on spending money.
When you do over the downtown, I'm telling you, that's going to really attract people because they like that. They like the flora and fauna. They like the trees. And if you have, Dickie was talking about something bumping out, and if restaurants were, I did not like the parklets.
Outdoor dining, yeah.
I didn't like it. I was always afraid a car was going to come or something. I didn't care for it. But I understood why they wanted it. But maybe if they have a bump out or something, they could put chairs or whatever, table.
Well, I like the concept of wide sidewalks.
Me
because
too.
Wide sidewalks help pedestrians, but also help businesses too. So, if a business wants to put out a dozen chairs, they can. But if they don't, then we have wide sidewalks. I walk up and down Water Street, and the sidewalks are so narrow with the utility poles in the middle of them. It's really not pedestrian friendly. So,
and sometimes they put their wares out on the sidewalk.
They do.
And
the sandwich boards are there. And you're trying to navigate them. So when assuming hopefully we break ground this December on Court Street. We'll have bump outs that'll be more pedestrian friendly. We hope to have these drop off locations where, because people complain about parking, so you can pull into these drop off locations. There'll be a bench there with some shade tree. You can drop off, a family member who maybe struggles with walking, and then drive to the garage and then meet them. So shade trees will be added, new stormwater system, fixing the sidewalks. So we're hoping that this program gets funded this fall, and then we'll be right to work in December and starting that project.
Well, my committee, CPC, left money in an account, Eileen knows about it, for the Unitarian area, the Unitarian Church area. There were plans that I saw that were once mocked up to fix that area.
Is this the one in Town Square?
Town Square. And we had money, so was it David or somebody
David
said
Gould.
they're going to take it
Yes.
now. Now, this has been a couple of years. And they're going to do the study on whatever. But I thought we already did the study and we had the plans.
We do. So the project I just referenced, that's phase 1. Phase 2 is what you just referenced.
Yeah.
The Town Square and going down to the Main Street extension. I would say that what they will do is they'll take the plans that you just referenced,
Yeah.
and they'll dust them off and say,
Oh, good.
all right, we love these plans because
They were beautiful.
They were great.
Yeah.
Could you think of, if you can envision what Town Square looked like in those plans?
Yeah.
Every Saturday having a farmer's market,
Yeah.
it'd be beautiful. It'd be
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And so that's
And it
phase 2.
draws them up to the downtown. You need
Exactly.
draw.
Right. You get the draw. Folks are coming up from Water Street. They're going to the farmer's market. Now they're on top of the hill. They walk down to Court Street.
Cemeteries there.
What they have envisioned, and there are a lot of folks who are part of that vision. So I know that we would get a lot of traction because it's not a new concept. It's dusting off an old concept that everybody supported to begin with. So
It can be improved, whatever, but
Sure.
it's just lovely, and I was really sad to see it. Maybe it's been a while.
I don't know how long ago, but David Gould said it's been a while since they did that. So, Mike Cahill's working on those 2 projects. David Gould is working on the project on Town Wharf Way,
I know.
which will be an amazing project when it's done.
Yeah.
We have to fix the seawall over there.
Really?
It's in disrepair.
Yeah.
The sidewalks and the metal
know.
guardrail are a mess.
Yeah.
We got to reconfigure the infrastructure and the utility poles. But while we're doing all that, creating a wooden boardwalk on the inside,
Nice.
people are gonna. And David Gould,
He's
the guy is
worth
amazing when
every
it comes to
penny
grants.
he earns.
He'll probably, knowing David, he'll get a grant. It'll be a 1-to-1 match. He'll probably get a grant for a few $1 million, and we have to match the few $1 million.
Grant writers, and he's much more than that, but grant writers are worth unbelievable money.
Yeah.
Because they know where to go, how to do it, what to say, what time of year to do it. It's very involved.
Well, and you're right. And so in the fall of 21, the select board made the conscious decision to fund a grant writing position. Tiffany Pack is our grant writer. And like you just said, she's worth her weight in gold.
Yeah.
We can't pay her enough money for what she does for this town.
Tiffany's
she brings in
team
tens
player.
of millions of dollars a year just writing grants.
Yeah.
And so, some of the projects that we're granting grants for, we probably wouldn't do because it wouldn't be considered a priority. But because we're getting grant money for it, we do it. And
look at it.
Look at Memorial Hall. So, quick example, because I know we're running out of time. The Veterans Hall,
Yes.
Memorial Hall.
You walk in.
It was renovated last year with a $30,000 grant that Tiffany and Joe Goldberg wrote. So, those little things all add up.
Even with a detector, the
metal detectors?
metal detector.
Yeah, we ended up getting, I think we used ARPA money for the metal detectors, but that's something that was long overdue. We needed metal detection at any one of our entertainment venues. You go anywhere now, you have to go through metal detection. And so, we ended up getting some ARPA funds, funded that, and we haven't had a problem since.
No. Did you have a problem?
No, we haven't had problems. We do know that people brought in weapons. We do know that for a fact. Now that because of metal detection, we screen those out and we
And
tell
what
people
happens?
before.
They just leave them, or they have to leave?
So first thing we say to them is, go put it back in your vehicle.
Oh, okay.
If they don't want to walk back to the vehicle, oftentimes, like if it's a knife or something, they'll just take it from them, they'll hold it, and they can get it on their way out.
A knife.
Yeah.
Who carries a knife?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Really?
Yeah. So, we're improving public safety. We're improving at least the veterans section of Memorial Hall. There's a lot going on in this town, as you know.
There is. And since you've come aboard, I'll tell you, a lot has got done. Look at the streets that are getting fixed. Long Pond Road.
I'm happy you brought up streets because I did the math a couple months ago. And if my math serves me correct, and I'm pretty good at math, over the last 4 years, we will have completed 33% of all of our roads. That means in 4 years, we would have repaved 33. There's no other community in Massachusetts that can say that.
That's enormous.
I met with the DPW director yesterday morning, and he said, this construction season, this paving season, this past summer, as of last week, they just finished 24 miles of road.
I believe it.
The high mark before last year ever in the town's history was 15. They're not even halfway through the paving season. We've already done 24 miles this year.
Yeah.
So you see it, halfway upon Long Pond Road, that intersection. You got intersections that are being fixed over on Clark Road. Almost every street in town is getting milled and overlaid, or we use rubber chip seal on roads that are in good condition. Roads are important. When people complain to us, the number one complaint on our See-Click Fix is potholes. The number one complaint by a mile. 2,000 complaints a year just on potholes.
2,000.
So we are putting a lot of energy and a lot of resources behind our roads.
You have. It's amazing because it's everywhere.
It is, and because we know that's what people want.
Yeah.
We know people want to see their roads. In fact, one individual, elected official, had said her road hadn't been paved in, I want to say, 25 years. And we just got it done this year. And we only were able to get it done is because we have this concerted effort to say, listen, we're going to pave as many miles as possible. We're going to keep paving until these guys run out of asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good, and I'm happy to get the feedback.
Well, Derek, honest to God, you're amazing, and I'm not just saying it. He really is. And I appreciate you so much, and thank you for the
Yeah,
ride.
we'll have to do this again. This is fun.
This was fun. I will see you next week with the town moderator, Steve Trifletti. Thank you for tuning in.